What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Cinema Royale. Cinema Royale. There you go. Cinema. I was trying to make it classier, but cinema is a classy word as it is, so I don't think I can do that. Yeah. Look, man, it wouldn't be the same if everything was working correctly. We gotta give the people what they tune in for. It's for the hilarity of what I can screw up this week. That's what it is. That's what it is. Yeah. And it looks like I'm getting word that we are able to be heard. So that's good. Yeah. Hey, it couldn't have been worse. At least that happened on our 30-minute show and not the week before on our important show that was about real stuff. And of course, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. And it looks like on the docket for the day we have Irresistible, Eurovision, which I'm just going to call Eurovision, by the way. Sorry to the people at Netflix. I'm not going to say that whole title. And My Spy, which is Dave Bautista's rite of passage as an action star. I think you have to do one of these. And then Michael Keaton's Batman we talked about. We'll be talking about how Tenet and Mulan are playing a little game of chicken. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Right. And people still need to watch something. You got two major releases. Right. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of crap. Yeah. All right. Well, we already talked about Dave Bautista's rite of passage. I mean, if you really pay attention, and you don't really have to pay attention, but there's certain things that every hyper masculine action star has to go through. One of those things. But you can even go back into the 80s guys, and a lot of the 80s guys did something like this, whether, it wasn't, this exact mix is very relative to the last 20 years, but that softening movie, the movie you to soften your image a little bit for some reason, you have everybody from the well-known ones like The Pacifier or Tooth Fairy, but even he just did one, that fire, yeah. Right. Even Jackie Chan did one. I mean, Jackie Chan even did one where he played And it's almost kind of the same thing where it's a spy or an agent of some sort who's tasked to team up with a kid for whatever reason. It's the kindergarten cop. Yep. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's right. We did have screenings for this right before that, right? Mm-hmm. Mm. Mm-hmm. Sonic the Hedgehog is going to win Best Picture, and My Spy will be the last movie you saw in theaters. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. It's got to be crushing. I mean, if you think about it as a kid, like imagine if Christmas were next week and then someone was like, no, Christmas is going to be in March this year. And now we're going to do Christmas in August. And then maybe Christmas after summer. I mean, that's going to be what it's like. Right. Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. Oof. Yeah. The one where he has to dress funny and it's in the execution. It's all in the execution. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. Or something like that, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Dave Bautista, just before I go into it, I do want to say that yeah, DC's on, and by the way, it sickens me that man is 51 years old, and he looks like that. I just feel bad on myself, but it gives me hope, because that means I still have like 13 years to achieve that, which is never going to happen. But My Spy, if you put it up against all those movies, what is your gold standard, action star teen with little kid movie? Mm. Right. It's probably most people's. I mean, that's the most popular one. Mm. Oh, that's a. Right. Oh yeah, Dabney Coleman treaded in that territory a lot. Like Short Time. So Kindergarten Cop is the first in my mind. That's the first. Cop and a Half that's what I was going to. Cop and a Half is first in my heart, and this is the same. And I'm scared to rewatch that movie because I just have a lot of feelings thinking back about it that it's probably blatantly racist, and I just didn't realize at the time. But My Spy is closest to that. It's about the kid who wants to do the thing and is actually good at the thing and blackmails their way into the thing, and I really, yeah. I really appreciate that, but I mean, the biggest surprise is not just how enjoyable it is, but that Dave Bautista continues to impress. I mean, coming out, I would have bet any amount of money that he would go the way of, oh damn, I'm blanking on his name, that UFC fighter with cauliflower ears and the Expendables. The UFC fighter, he was in the Expendables, cauliflower ear really bad. Yeah, Randy Couture. I would have bet money that Dave Bautista was going to go the career out of Randy Couture, just based on what I knew from wrestling and brief things about him. He's a quieter guy, he's more reserved, he looks like a huge brute. He doesn't have like that cover model quality that The Rock does, where you can kind of buy him either way. But damn, this dude is excelling. Oh, for sure. I mean, just judging a book by its cover, I would have thought that's where he's going. But this guy, and you nailed why when you give him your review, is that he has done a lot of those smaller movies. He is one of these guys. If you line them all up, Mark Wahlberg, The Rock, just all the main action stars. You line them up. He is the one that cares about the craft the most. And that sounds pretentious to say, but you can tell that he's acting because he likes acting, and it comes through in what he's doing. And he's able to get a lot of charisma and a lot of charm out of that. I mean, Drax is it could have easily been a throwaway background character in not just Guardians, but Avengers, Endgame. And he ended up having one of the funniest parts in the whole movie that people still talk about. Yeah. So, I mean, while this won't go, this will be his rite of passage. Nobody talks about the Tooth Fairy anymore. Nobody talks about any of his other movies for their respective stars, but it's something that they have to do for some reason, and I'm okay with it. And I think this is just fine for a lazy day sitting around with the family watching movies. Right. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, which thank God for this pandemic in one sense, and that's that they're finally telling us because they have no other option how movies are doing on streaming. And I realized, yeah. Fair enough, yeah. Yeah. That's true. Can't argue that. Hmm. Yeah, so I just want to take 1 second here because we got a little notice about our audio. And we are. So it looks like our audio issues have come back. They can hear me, but not you. What the? Yeah, that was by design, I just wanted to do that. Give me 1 second. That was a really good review, too. Motherfucker! I can hear you just fine. Okay.
You can hear me, but that's really weird that you can hear me, but no one else can.
Well, see, the way OBS works, and I think they can hear us now. I'm going to pull it back up and see. The way OBS works is that they're not hearing from your microphone or my microphone. They're by design, I just wanted to do that. Give me 1 second.
What happened?
I really wish I could see. Here we go. Because I can hear us fine. Okay,
you can hear me, but that's really weird that you can.
All right, we are now good. So for some reason, the desktop audio from our streaming software stopped going through. So I'm guessing you guys just heard me for a little while and not Travis. I do apologize for that.
That's a shame. I just gave the greatest review of My Spy ever, and now no one's heard it, which is a damn shame.
I am sick and tired of these goddamn technical difficulties, man. Why is this so difficult? I'm
man.
frustrated here.
I don't know. I'm putting all my faith in you. You're supposed to know this stuff.
I do, and every time something goes wrong, I don't know it, but I'm trying, I guess. It's supposed to just work. If it's not one thing, it's another.
It's supposed to just work. You just turn it on.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. You just bring that down a little bit.
For those who I guess didn't hear it,
yeah,
we gave My Spy a positive review, largely because of Dave Bautista, and we talked about how further along he is than a lot of the other guys, big action stars who take on roles like this. We feel like he's better at showing his vulnerable and sensitive side, which he does in this movie. I really like Chloe Coleman as his co-star as well. She's really, really good. It's not going to change the world or anything, but it's a fun film, especially for families that are stuck indoors right now. It's worth hearing, but no one else. So I would definitely say go and check out My Spy if you can.
Yeah. So for the archive version of this, if you're watching live, then if you're watching live, you'll just hear a couple things over again. So like Travis said, we get a positive review for that. We compare this is Dave Bautista's rite of passage as an action star. They all do a movie with a younger sidekick, and this is his, and he seems to have knocked it out of the park pretty well. So any of our listeners out there, please feel free to jump on the chat on our YouTube channel, and certainly let me know if something else goes wrong. I have now filled my entire screen with displays and widgets.
You need a new background other than that Star Wars background.
Well, what should I use?
You can upload any image you want. You don't have to use that Star Wars background.
There's a reason that I talk about movies and don't make movies. It's because I am not creative. Here, how's that one?
You do whatever you want. I would change mine, but I don't have a solid enough background, I guess, behind me. Every time I try to use it, it looks like staring into
kind of goes in and out.
Yeah, it looks like I'm staring into the abyss. So it doesn't really work.
All right, I'll sit in the back of a dark theater. This actually works better for me because I can't get the lighting in this room right anyway. So I'm either sitting in the dark or I'm whited out by light. So either way.
Yeah. Well, it reminded me that I've been streaming Knights of the Old Republic on Twitch lately, which has been fun. So, but in fact, I might do some more of that again today. Actually, it's pretty cool. So,
yeah, we talked.
Those games are fun.
Do you think they'll do a remaster? I mean, I don't understand how they haven't already. I don't know if there's a remaster.
I wish they would. They need to. Those games are clunky as hell, by the way. I forgot how clunky they were when I was playing them. I was like, okay. I mean, they still look cool, but And they're really immersive, which is like the main thing, right? That's like they really thrust you deep into Star Wars, but
Right.
the controls are sort of like, bleh. All right.
Yeah. I mean, you forget that too. I think we actually talked about it on the show one time that I was a huge fan of Battlefield 2. I mean, the fact that you could fight on a spaceship, jump in a starfighter, and fly over to another Star Destroyer or something was amazing. And I just had such good feelings of that. It's like rewatching that movie you loved as a kid and realizing it sucked. And the game doesn't suck by any means, but when I thought it looked good, and then I thought it would play well and handled well, and then you play and you're like, ooh, this is not what I thought it was.
I'm curious about that new Star Wars game they got coming out. That
Battalions or
whatever one it is that where you're in the X-wing.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, people have been clamoring for a Rogue Squadron game for.
It looks like
years.
Apparently it's going to be like it'll be online only apparently. So, which to me sounds like it sounds like it's going to be like a Warzone type game or
right.
Something like which I'm fine with. I think that kind of thing could lend itself well to the online experience, but we'll see. It really just depends on how it's done. So.
Yeah, well,
I've been trying to play Overwatch over the last 2 weeks, and I hate that game with a passion. Now it sucks.
You can't get into it.
I can't get into it, and part of it is because it's online only, so you're thrown in there with people who've been playing for ages, and it's just doesn't.
So they don't matchmake or anything like that. There's no matchmaking out.
The learning curve is too steep.
There's nothing worse than that.
Yeah, it kind of sucks. I mean, it's hard. I mean, I've been out there getting toasted, so. And there's so many characters with different abilities that it's hard to find one that you like.
So it's not just an army type game, right?
No, there's like 20 different characters. They all have different powers and weapons.
Oh, see, I thought it was just a shooter. I didn't realize there were powers involved.
Yeah, each character has their own like gun, but they all also have different abilities and powers. So it's really hard to figure out which character you like because there's just too many variations.
Right.
So I don't know. I'm not feeling it. I've been playing more Halo, so that's fine with me.
Never anything wrong with playing Halo. Oh man, nope. Halo 2 was my jam. But
you need to get on there so we can play teams.
On Halo?
Yeah.
I don't have the Master Chief Collection. I guess I could definitely get it. I don't see the reason why not.
You have Game Pass. Just download it.
Oh, is it free?
Yeah.
I will do that tonight then. As a matter of fact.
Yeah, so we can play some Halo multiplayer.
While we're in the video game world, and specifically Star Wars, the good news that came out this past week was that EA, who it was announced, or rather rumored, that they might be giving away the Star Wars license that they have, or letting go of, rather, has come out and said they're not only keeping it, but they're doubling down on the content creation.
No, I'm waiting for the good news part.
That I will look. EA.
I knew as soon as you said good news, and then you said EA, my nose went.
Yeah.
I don't buy it already. Those things don't go together. Yeah,
fair enough. I see. That shows the diehard Star Wars dork I am. That it's just any content, good or bad, is going to be something for me. But after playing Fallen Order, after seeing Battlefield 2 go from where it was when it debuted to where it is now, I am just excited to see everything. I mean, I want to see all those old games.
I still haven't really played that game yet, Fallen Order.
Fallen Order, it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's kind of repetitive, and I wish there were more enemies and more varied enemies. And you get to a lot of places where you're just killing space dogs basically all the time, like these weird space monsters. But
I thought you were going to say EA has decided to give those Star Wars license to Square Enix or something else. Like, that sounds awesome. And then
you're still on this good news thing, aren't you?
And you're like, oh, EA is going to keep it. And I was like,
right. Fair enough. But where Battlefront 2 has come. I keep saying Battlefield. Battlefront 2 has come. And this, I mean, I want to see 1313. I want to see something like that come out. I want to see. A Vader game. I want to see all these things that they could do. I'll even play the Ewok version of Animal Crossing if it comes out. I actually don't know what Animal Crossing is. That may or may not make sense. I've never played it.
You have a Switch, don't you? You have a Nintendo Switch, don't you?
I don't. My brother's a big Nintendo guy. I'm Xbox only. I do think I need to pick up a Switch though.
Yeah, I mean, I want to start streaming from my Switch. Maybe stream some Animal Crossing. I was playing it the other day with a handful of our critic friends and visiting their islands, so that was kind of fun. But yeah.
What's not that we need to go off on a tangent on Animal Crossing, but just give me the synopsis real quick. Like, what did you do?
Animal Crossing, the synopsis. If you try to talk about what you do in it, it doesn't sound fun. Like you go fishing, you catch bugs, you buy stuff, you pay off your bills, like you pay off your house. When you talk about stuff like that, it doesn't sound fun, but then when you play it, it is, because it's like this really leisurely,
yeah.
game.
You know what? I've been playing Red Dead Redemption 2 for 3 weeks, and I've been actively hunting rabbits through the woods for hours and having a blast and doing things like that. So
it was gonna be like I was like, well, do I want to stream Red Dead Redemption or do I want to play KOTOR? And then every time I'm about to play Red Dead Redemption again, I remember how much I hate the controls, and then I don't play it.
In part 2 or part 1?
The latest one, so part 2. So I don't play it, and I'm like, eventually I'll get around to it, but by then it'll be so old I won't want to be streaming it.
Right.
But anyway, not that KOTOR isn't old, but KOTOR is classic old.
Yeah.
Red Dead Redemption 2 is not.
Not yet. No. Part 1's not even there yet. Speaking of old things,
I love part 1.
I never played part 1, so I'm waiting to finish 2, and then I get to go into 1. I kind of get to do the prequel sequel thing because 2 is a prequel for those of you who don't know. Speaking of things that are old, Will Ferrell has a new movie coming out this week, Eurovision Song Contest, the story of Fire Saga, which feels, looks, and sounds exactly like it was transported. Like it's been delayed since 2005. This could fit right in with Anchorman and Blades of Glory and all these other movies where it's him paired with, it's usually a pretty woman, if I remember correctly. I mean, I love Will Ferrell. I'm not trashing. Don't get me wrong.
He's usually got a sidekick. He usually doesn't have a pretty woman at his side for most of this stuff. He usually has a sidekick of some
Oh my God! Blades of Glory was not a pretty woman. It was John Heater.
John
right?
Heater. Yeah, he may have looked like a woman for a lot of it.
Yeah.
But no, it was John Heater. But I know where you're coming from. It's the Will Ferrell satire.
Mm-hmm.
Where he takes something and satirizes it, like Talladega Nights satirizes NASCAR, or Blaze of Glory satirizes the competitive sport of was skating.
Yeah, ice skating.
Ice skating, or semi-pro satirizes all-star basketball.
Yeah, ABA basketball in the 70s.
Right. So I mean, it was those, or God, it was that awful soccer movie he did. I don't remember what it was.
Oh. Running Scared?
Kicking and Screaming.
Kicking and Screaming, yeah, right.
Stuff. But it's that Will Ferrell satirizing. Anchorman satirizes the news reporters of the 70s.
Right.
And it's in that mode. Eurovision is definitely in that mode. It's satirizing the Eurovision Song Contest, which is a real thing.
That's what surprised me most.
Yeah, I've never seen it because it's every year. It's every year except for this year. It got canceled because the world is canceled right now. But it's a singing competition, it's like the International American Idol, except some of the competitors are really far out, like dressed like demons, or they're like rapping grannies and stuff like that. Like some of these countries don't send the greatest people in the world.
Right.
But then every now and then you get ABBA or Celine Dion who've been in there and have broken through and really had careers. So it's ripe for satirization, which is what makes Eurovision Song Contest interesting, because I don't really feel like it satirizes Eurovision much at all. In fact, it seems like it's really kind of embracing it, and I'm pretty sure it's because the people from Eurovision actually were involved in this. So they didn't make fun of it the way they could have, right? There were a lot of opportunities they could have had to make fun of it, and they don't really do it. They make fun of Will Ferrell a lot in the movie. His character, who's a big doofus and got a big ego.
Lars Eriksson.
Right, Lars. And then Rachel McAdams' character, who's Rachel McAdams, she's fucking brilliant in everything she does, and she's great in this as well.
Yeah.
And super sexy in this as well, by the way. But she's fantastic as his maybe sister, but probably not sister.
Which is one of the jokes because
one running gag in the movie I really liked.
And it's even they even hint to it in her name, her full name, which is funny.
Yeah. So, but the movie's funny. I enjoyed it overall. It's got some really funny songs in it, but I think it's better when it can lean into how ridiculous like song competitions in general are. Like when it can lean into that, and you have Ferrel, in a giant hamster wheel or something on stage or something like that. That stuff's funny. But it gets better, I think, as it kind of transitions into following her character. It becomes more of an underdog story. And it becomes about her kind of moving out and standing on her own, because she's always been sort of like in Lars's spotlight.
Right.
I like it better when it starts to do that. But is it like a laugh out loud riot like maybe some Will Ferrell fans are expecting? I don't think so. It's a funny film, but it's definitely not among his funniest.
Yeah, you're not going to see. I have this weird relationship with Will Ferrell where I am a laugh out loud fan of all his movies, but I didn't start out that way. Like, there's some movies that you'll watch the first time and you're like, man, this is so stupid, I'll never watch this again. And then you catch it on like TBS and you're like, oh, this is pretty good. And the next thing you know, you watch it 20 times and it's hilarious, you're laughing out loud and quoting it. That was Will Ferrell to me. Like, Anchorman, first time I saw it, I thought it was ridiculous. I did not think it was funny. And then it came on HBO that summer or something. I watched it again, and I just watched it so many times. And it's now one of like my most memorable comedies in my repertoire. And,
I find that movie highly overrated.
Yeah, and a lot of people do. And
in fact, that whole period of time for Will Ferrell, that one that we were talking about, where he was making those movies like Blades of Glory and Anchorman, and Talladega Nights, I don't really like any of those movies that much. Like that phase of Will Ferrell was not what I liked. I didn't like any of that stuff. And like the one Will Ferrell movie from that period that I really liked was Old School. But if I watch it now, I don't think it's funny. So yeah, I'm sort of like hit or miss with Will Ferrell.
He's not for everybody. I mean, his brand of humor is so in your face, and it's very almost one note. I want to say where he's always yelling for no reason, and he's just over the top in every single way, and he makes the kind of stupid joke that's so to me it's funny because it's so obvious, or it's so stupid it's funny. It's not that it's so clever, it's just that it's so stupid. But he's always wrong with me. That might say something more about me than about him. But Eurovision, like you said, it looks like old Ferrell, it feels like old Ferrell. It just doesn't work like old Ferrell. And I think a lot of it has to do with what you mentioned, is that this is not Will Ferrell and Adam McKay going and writing something to lampoon some segment of society or something. This is Will Ferrell working with Eurovision to make something.
This is Will Ferrell and Andrew Steele. Andrew Steele is the guy who did The Spoils of Babylon with Will Ferrell. Yeah, so it's that brand of humor. I think Andrew Steele may have done Casa de Mi Padre too.
He did,
another satirization of something that is very easy to satirize, which is Spanish telenovelas, right?
Yeah.
So their humor is different than the humor from back in those Anchorman days. Yeah, they're kind of having the same sort of goal,
right?
But the style of humor is different. And I don't know if I really dig the Will Ferrell, Andrew Steele brand of humor, because I thought Spoils of Babylon and its sequel were awful. I didn't think those were funny at all.
Even Casa de Mi, Andrew Steele.
Casa de Mi Padre I liked for a minute, and then I watched it again, I was like, this shit's funny.
Yeah.
I think I liked it more for Genesis Rodriguez than anything else, maybe.
Understandable. Which, by the way, Demi Lovato is in Eurovision, for anybody that was interested.
She's blown to bits for most of it, so.
She's in it. That's what matters.
works.
I'm a fan.
Dan Stevens, by the way, Dan Stevens is really funny.
Mm-hmm. Which is surprising.
Yeah, it's really funny considering the sort of homoerotic vibes that his character is giving off, which could be problematic to some people. But in fact, his character probably more than any other feels like something from a different era.
Yeah.
Sort of over the top flamboyant guy who's probably gay, but is like really in your face trying to be masculine. Like that's the character he's playing in this, and that character feels very old. But Dan Stevens is like you talked about with Bautista. He's so committed to it that it's kind of funny.
Yeah, I mean, which might be some of the reason that he's not as funny, and this again is something that says more about me probably. But if when you go back and watch those movies, Anchorman, Semi-Pro, that whole what they call it, frat pack. The frat pack was the last of, let's kind of call it what it is, offensive comedy. They were making fun of LGBTQ groups. They were making fun of everything. There were a lot of date rapey type jokes and things like that people laughed at. Yeah. And whatever, people didn't. I don't want to say didn't know back then, but and that was a big part of what their humor was. So
look, we weren't all woke at the same time.
No,
we weren't all woke. Period. So
And who knows how woke we'll be tomorrow? But the thing is, it's a different thing, and good for them for trying to come out. But that is one of the things that kind of is a holdover from that era. And Pierce Brosnan's in the movie, which I always love seeing Pierce Brosnan.
Pierce Brosnan's interesting in this film because he's not in it a lot. He plays Will Ferrell's dad, and he's playing that role that you expect for these kinds of movies, which is the father who is ashamed of his son, doesn't support him in his dreams.
Right.
He's more humiliated by him than anything else because they come from this small, Icelandic fishing village, and he's embarrassed by his son who wants to dress up in flamboyant clothes and be a singer.
Yeah.
But when he has the eventual softening moment, it actually was more effective than I thought it was going to be. It actually really worked, and a lot of that is Brosnan, who was just good at selling that kind of thing. But the movie does a pretty good job of making you want to root for Lars, and I can't remember his sister's name. Sigrid. It really does make you want to root for them, strangely enough.
Yeah.
So that part worked for me. Eurovision works for me overall. It's a funny film. It's just not, if you're going in there expecting it to be one of Will Ferrell's top flight comedies, I don't know if it reaches that level. I'm curious to see what it does for Netflix though, because I do feel like it has the potential to be a gigantic hit for them.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you consider that the Adam Sandler movies, as hated as they might be by most people, are among, there's a reason he keeps getting these 5-picture deals with them and shit.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see them strike another sort of deal like that with Ferrell. To do
maybe not, but this kind of comedy
movies don't do anything in theaters anymore. So I mean, he might as well.
Well, what's the last movie he really had in theaters, though? I mean, last big movie that could be considered a big movie. And maybe I'm just completely missing it.
Now I'm gonna look. So
he's been doing a lot of producing stuff lately. He's actually got more producing credits than acting credits nowadays. So
yeah.
I mean, so A Christmas, that was later. Apparently, he was in the Impractical Jokers movie.
I'm glad I never watched that.
Drunk Parents, he had an uncredited role in. So Holmes and Watson was his last big thing.
Well, I mean, he just did Downhill earlier this year.
Oh, that's right. But that wasn't big,
Downhill,
was it?
What?
Do we call that big? Is that like a big wide release? Was that?
Downhill was a big wide release. It didn't do anything, though. Yeah. Remember, I saw that at Sundance. Drunk Parents. Of course, he had Daddy's Home, too, in 2017, which those movies do okay, but they're sort of broad comedies. They do all right.
Holmes and Watson, which did not do well.
Disaster. It's a disaster not only at the box office, but just in general.
Yeah.
Oh, God. He had The House, which is one of the most unfunny movies I have ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I don't even remember that.
That was him and Amy Poehler, remember? Where they had the casino in their house.
I don't. I'm got a total blank for that. Why am I not remembering
remember it at all.
No.
It was just.
Oh, I just pulled up the poster now. I do remember, but I must have blacked it out. It was totally absent from my memory.
It is one of the most unfunny movies I have ever seen in my life. It is awful. I remember sitting in the theater like, good God.
I mean, it's kind of depressing now that I look at it, because the last movie he had that I think was really good. I mean, I liked Anchorman 2 fine, but that wasn't the last
Downhill.
movie.
Downhill's a good movie. It's just he doesn't have that kind of draw anymore.
The Campaign, I think, is the last comedy that I really liked that he did. And I don't even know, I'd have to watch it again. I don't remember if I really liked The Campaign as a comedy. I think I did.
I think I remember liking The Campaign. Wasn't that a Jay Roach?
Yeah. Yep. It was him and Zach Galifianakis.
Yeah, it was a Jay Roach movie. I think that was one of the reasons why I liked it. I mean,
but the last
politics.
big Will Ferrell comedy was The Other Guys in 2010. So it's been 10 years since he did one of his classic big time movies. And even that, he wasn't the star. So he was a star, but he shared it with Mark Wahlberg. And that is a good. We have one more movie to review, but I can't pass the segue up because Michael Keaton was in The Other Guys with Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg, and he's apparently going to be in something else. What's the story there?
Well, he's coming back as Batman.
And that's confirmed, right? So I looked.
Well, okay. We skipped past Irreversible.
All right, we'll go back. I didn't want to pass the
jumped past
segue. So remember that segue. We're going to do Irresistible and come back to that.
Which is fine, because Irresistible, which you didn't see that, did you?
I didn't, and I'm mad because I forgot Rose Byrne was in it.
Rose Byrne, as usual, is great, but Irresistible's not great. And this is the sophomore feature from Jon Stewart. Remember, he did Rosewater a couple years ago as his debut.
That's right. Yeah.
Which was a solid movie, but I think forgettable movie. Like I don't think anybody's sitting there remembering or talking much about Rosewater. It's a good movie, but Irresistible is a movie that feels like, I don't know, in my headline I called it the undecided voter of political comedies. It's a movie that I can sense his rage, right? I can sense his rage at the way the political system is right now, but it feels so out of step. Basically, Steve Carell plays a Democratic strategist who goes to Wisconsin to help a Democratic mayoral candidate run for office. And the guy he's helping is played by Chris Cooper, who is just like, he's a guy who, under other circumstances, will look like he's the classic Republican figure. He's an ex-military guy. He's a farmer. He's heartland, pure and bred, right? But he speaks liberal values. So he's like, oh man, this guy's like the perfect candidate. Right. He's that kind of thing. And it does what they wanted it to do. It attracts the attention of the Republican Party, who send in a big-time operative played by Rose Byrne to help the incumbent Republican stay in charge. And it's Jon Stewart expressing kind of showing his frustration at the system that is all about money and people selling out their values, in order to achieve success. And it's frustrating to control the outside factors have, including the media, in shaping our view of politics, and how it encourages us to take sides and kind of choose a side in various culture wars, big and small. And I get it. I'm frustrated by that too. But this movie goes so far. Stewart goes so far out of his way to not offend anybody that he doesn't do anything. Like he doesn't tell anything. He tells no. He doesn't cut into it. It's supposed to be satire. It doesn't cut into the meat of the problem because he's just trying to be so far in the middle, and it's just so bland and so disappointing. And I expect more from Jon Stewart. I expected Jon Stewart, the guy who attended that rally, that rally he did in D.C. with Stephen Colbert. I expected that guy who turned the Daily Show from a simple comedy show into a political force. Right. I expect that guy to do it. If he's going to do a movie like this, to be really hard hitting, and this movie is just blah and toothless and bleh.
So do you think?
Really, really sad.
do you think it would have been better had he taken a side or just cut deeper on both sides?
I would always rather somebody take a side. I always take a side.
How do you do that though? In this case, when what you're attacking is not the political parties themselves, but the whole idea behind it. Because let's be honest, they function the same way from a very top level, 50,000 foot view of the media and money and all that. So if he's talking about that process, I feel like talking about that. I haven't seen the movie, so I can't really say. But talking about the process by which we do this, which is similar on both sides. They do the same type of things, just different ways. You couldn't really pick a side and still lampoon it, because if you pick a side, you're talking about a side that does the same thing as the other one does. Does that make sense?
I mean,
how I'm saying that?
Kind of. But I always would prefer somebody to take a side and express their true feelings.
Right.
Because that's the only way you can really dig into the problem.
Right.
You can't do that if you're trying to be safe. You can't do that.
Yeah, safe is not good. I would like
He's being safe in this entire movie. He doesn't want to offend anybody.
which is
Because
so weird for him.
the system that as it is benefits one side and hurts the other. And there's something that the other side might do that hurts the other, and it's just kind of it's sort of like the both sides do it thing, and it's just really bland.
Right.
And I'd rather Jon Stewart just take a side, and be like, you know what, this side does this, and fuck that. That's bullshit. And I'd rather he just do that, because I know that's how he feels anyway.
Well, that's the problem.
I know that's how he feels, so he should just do it. He should just say it.
With that knowledge in place.
One of the things I like about these guys like Adam McKay and Jay Roach, who started out doing comedy and then started doing more political stuff, is they just say the thing.
Right.
They just say the thing.
Yeah.
And then if you don't like it, well, I mean, fucking tough. But they're not lying. They're just expressing their opinion. And I'd rather Stewart just do that. And I don't know why, of all the people, he's the one to not do it. He should have been the one to do it.
Well, yeah, that's where I can agree with you, because when you bring up that point that it is Jon Stewart, and it's not like he's hidden his political beliefs. It's not like we don't know what he believes. So for him to come out and go right down the middle does seem off and weird. And it makes me wonder why he would do it. Now, if it was somebody
he's trying to make a mainstream comedy. He's trying to make a movie that will get everybody in.
But that seems to me that doesn't jive with him. That doesn't jive with him, because he's not money. He's always seen somebody that's going to be platform bound. Like, he's not. He cares more about what he's saying than money. Otherwise, he wouldn't have taken the risk on the Daily Show in the first place. But I mean, it just
this is also a totally different career path for him too. I mean, and Rosewater was a movie that had some critical acclaim, but it wasn't the kind of movie that people were going to go pay to see. And now he's trying to make a movie that people will go pay to see. He's counting on the fact that his name, Jon Stewart, will get people who like him to already go see it. Now the point is to try to get the other people to go see it.
But he's got to be smart enough to know that that's mutually assured destruction. He's got to be smart enough to know that if I do that, the people that like me are going to come see it and feel the way you do.
He might be smart enough to know that when it comes to comedy on TV or comedy on the big screen.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, being a director is a totally new thing for him still. This is a totally different arena.
Yeah.
And it's not just him. He's got studios to deal with and all sorts of other things. A movie is a whole different thing.
Right.
Right. So
I want to see
Irresistible is, I'd say you can take it or you could probably leave it. Compared to the other two movies, it's definitely the least of the three. So,
yeah. I want to see the movie about the class aspect of all of it. Because you have, with Donald Trump obviously being the outlier, because nobody's going to be caught an ice cream shot with him after his term's over. But you see like Hillary and Bush and all these people that are.
He make a movie about that's expressing his anger over what we're in right now. That's what he should be doing. This Mr. Smith Goes to Washington style movie that he tried to make, this Capra-esque sort of thing, that everybody's the same and everybody agrees and everybody's okay because we all want the same sort of thing type movie that he tried to make with this is not. It's
Right.
not what I expect from him, and I would have won from him. But we only got a few minutes left, right? We only got a few minutes? Or do we
Yeah,
have,
I mean, I can run over a few just because we missed the first 10, 15 minutes.
Okay,
I
so
don't know what's going on with my Zoom here.
we definitely need to run over a few things. We definitely want to talk about the Eurovision thing.
Yes.
And we did mention it, and we should definitely talk about it because this is like the big news of the week. So Michael Keaton is in talks to come back as Batman in Ezra Miller's The Flash movie. And when I posted about this on Punch Drunk Critics, I was like, finally something that can turn this bullshit movie into something that people want to go see.
Right.
Because The Flash has been a movie that has been delayed and whatever for years now. Seeming more like it wasn't going to happen than it was going to happen. I mean, it's lost so many directors, so many writers.
Yeah.
It's had so many issues. This is like that first concrete thing about that movie that makes people say, oh, shit, okay. Michael Keaton coming back as Batman is big news. And he's going to be coming back as an older Batman. The original Batman is what I've heard.
Now let's clarify, he's coming back as Bruce Wayne, right?
He's come back as Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne Batman. Older Batman, the original Batman, and he will wear the costume at some point.
Okay, so that's the clarification that I was waiting
He
for.
will
So,
wear
yeah.
the costume at some point, and I don't know how they're going to do this. Now they're saying that the Flash movie is going to be based on Flashpoint. That's storyline. Yeah, so I mean, it's going to be a lot of time stuff going on in this, most likely alternate world stuff going on, maybe. But it seems like he's going to be, just Batman. I don't know how they're going to do it, but I want to see it.
Well, here's the cool thing about all this, and I'm probably pulling conspiracy threads at this point, but something really exciting and really groundbreaking happened last fall, and that was the Crisis on Infinite Earths in the Berlantiverse shows. And if you guys remember, who showed up in that but Ezra Miller's Flash? So that means that, obviously not the same universe, but the same multiverse that the movies appear in, the TV shows appear in too. And I think that they realized with all the press they got out of bringing back Tom Welling and bringing in Burt Ward and bringing in all these different people from all these different shows and all these different time periods, and really, it hit all the right notes of nostalgia for people, and it made everything a little bit deeper. And I think this is just a no-brainer, and it solves all of their issues with continuity.
It makes sense because they've already pretty much established that all these various Warner Brothers shows and movies exist in the same multiverse. Right? So, having him come back in terms of like storyline does not sound far-fetched.
Right.
It does not sound far-fetched. It's just the fact that he's doing it, and it's him that's doing it, that makes it.
Oh yeah, that's surprising. Yeah.
That's the part that's amazing. But in terms of them like coming back and be like and bringing back the original Batman from the Tim Burton movies and having him be a part of this one, it's pretty fantastic. And if I'm honest, I feel like Marvel and Sony are setting up the same sort of thing with Spider-Man and the MCU.
Yeah, the whispers about Venom.
Which is why they brought in Sam Raimi to do Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Right.
He directed those trilogy of Spider-Man movies, and now you're dealing with a MCU movie that's going to deal with the multiverse. I expect that we will see many different recalls to the Raimi Spider-Man movies. In the trailer for Morbius, there's that shot of Spider-Man drawn on the wall, and that is very clearly not the Tom Holland Spider-Man.
Right.
That looks like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man.
For sure.
So I think they're both sides are doing something similar here.
Yeah. I think one of the most major things that they've realized over the last 4 to 5 years with movies like Venom.
My battery's about to die, so if you see me get out of the frame for a second, that's why.
Oh yeah, no worries. With a movie like Venom, with Morbius coming up with other things in there, what we've seen and what they've learned is that continuity it matters and it's important. You can't just break it for no reason. But if you give people some kind of reason for it, if you make it make sense, continuity is not a huge thing. Let's look where this stuff comes from. Comic books have some of the most messed up, broken continuity in any kind of media that's ever been made. I mean, that's the whole reason they had the whole reason we have multiverses at all in comics is because writers wrote themselves to a place they couldn't go anymore. They needed to just hit the reset button and start. So they did that, and the smart thing they did is they didn't just do it. They made a reason, no matter how far-fetched it is, they made a feasible reason for it. Okay, it's a multiverse. Cool. And we've gotten to a point where we're kind of hitting critical mass with the superhero movies, not with desire to watch them, but with where we can go, what we can do. And you need to bring in more stuff. You need to bring in all these new properties. There's no other legitimate way to do it. And Crisis on Infinite Earths in the Berlanti-verse was a huge step in that direction for them to say, oh, people will buy this if we see it. And then, you've got things coming together that they didn't think were going to come together, like Venom. And they're going to want to bring that into, everybody wants to see Venom and Spider-Man fight, so they have to introduce him somehow. Obviously, Eddie Brock's world was not the same as Steve Rogers' world. So they've got to do something about that to bring it together. There's a lot of stuff to go, and this is going to be the way to do it. This is our first major clue of not only that happening in the DCEU.
I don't know why your sound is staticky all of a sudden.
All of a sudden it is?
Yeah, I think it has to do with me.
Because I have everything else working, so something has to go wrong. They can hear you now, so...
It's probably me, because I was just down here trying to plug in all these cords, and now I'll probably bump something or some stupid shit. I don't know.
Let's do it.
Okay, now you sound fine. Me and wires and plugs don't get along. I was telling my roommate, I was like, I'm pretty good with technical stuff in most cases, but when it comes to wires,
right? Yeah,
I'm hopeless. Just setting up a video game system, I'm hopeless.
No, insert plug A into slot B.
Which is why I always need your help so bad when I need there's a cat just out of frame
There he is.
Chuck.
Don't be famous, Chuck. He's like, I'm good. I'm good.
Chuck sees the door closed and is wondering, why am I trapped in here?
Right.
I'll open it in a second. Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, I always need your help with the streaming stuff because I'm hopeless when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah.
Other stuff, yeah, I'm okay. But yeah, okay, all right, I'm coming.
So we were talking about the DCEU, but yeah, this is huge news. I mean, because the other thing that this will set up that we're not thinking of is there's a lot of people that were in older movies. When the Marvel movies got huge, it became okay for A-list actors to be in superhero movies. Now with Keaton coming back in this, it's going to become okay for people that used to play a role, or it brings another level of accessibility and to these actors. So, and it pretty much confirms it's going to be Flashpoint. I mean, I don't see it. I mean, it might be a different version, the same way Civil War was a different version of
Flashpoint, the same way the Flash TV show did a different version of Flashpoint. They all do different versions of it. But yeah, it's definitely going to be Flashpoint, and I'm really anxious because I have a feeling that Michael Keaton's Batman will be the only character we see return.
You think Val Kilmer's gonna come back?
No, I don't. But I don't know. I mean, I honestly don't know.
Right.
I have a feeling they're going to try to get Ben Affleck back in the Batman suit for this. I think they'll try. I don't know if they'll succeed, but I think they'll try.
You back up enough money. I mean, the thing is, they didn't get a chance to close out that Batman. So if they want to do a multiverse thing and they want to kill off Ben Affleck's Batman and bring in Robert Pattinson's Batman and re-solidify the Justice League universe.
This is the one thing I'm sure of, is that they won't do that.
They won't kill off Affleck?
No, that they won't bring in Robert Pattinson's Batman. That's the one thing I'm sure of.
Yeah, but it won't be a shame because it's good to have a precedent set of being able to have a major character in a standalone movie that's not connected to anything else. But if it really works, and I just have this weird feeling that it's going to really work. Robert Pattinson's Batman, the Batman, the Matt Reeves movie, is going to really work. And then just have that all by itself somewhere. It's just, I don't know.
Okay. All right, we'll see. But that's big news. Michael Keaton coming back as Batman. Pretty cool.
Speaking of big movies coming back to the theaters, we're supposed to have Tenet later on in July. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, Tenet and Mulan keep flip flopping. So they're playing this. Warner Brothers and Disney are playing this game of chicken where nobody wants to be the first major movie to come out in the summer. Like nobody wants to do it. Nobody wants to be. I always compare it to. I always say, nobody wants to be the first one ever. It's like when Michael Jordan retired. You didn't want to be the first shooting guard to play for the Bulls after Michael Jordan retired. Like you didn't want to be that guy. I don't care if you scored 25 points a game. You were going to be looked at as a disappointment.
Oh yeah.
And it was just like, and then so I remember because I was a Bulls fan at the time. And I remember so they brought in the most mediocre guard they could find. They brought in like Pete Myers, I think was the guard, to play the shooting guard. They didn't even try.
Yeah.
They didn't even try to bring in somebody good. They brought in somebody mediocre as hell, so that when he took flack, it was just like, I mean, what do you want him to be? He's Pete Myers. So nobody wants to be first. So what we've seen is Tenet keeps moving. So it just got moved to August 12th again. Now, so it got moved to August 12th. Now, it had been at July 17th, which was going to make it the first major film of the summer. Then it moved, and Mulan was going to come out a week later, July 24th. So then Tenet moved back 2 weeks to July 31st, which made Mulan first. And now Mulan has moved. Mulan has moved. And Tenet has moved. They both moved again. So Tenet moved to August 12th, and then Mulan moved like right after that to like August 21st.
So the theaters are opening already. What are they showing?
They keep flip flopping. They keep flip flopping because no one wants to be first, and they're just gonna keep playing this stupid game of shoots and ladders until somebody just says, "Why don't you both just come out the same day and say screw it?"
Yeah. Well, let's ask. I'm going to ask you this real quick, and then we can wrap up and get out of here. But what do you think is? Because obviously we know why. Because they don't want the first one to come out and lose a shit ton of money because people aren't ready to come back. But what do you think is a better way to coax people back in the theaters? Not that that's a good thing to do, but let's just say that hypothetically that's what you need to do. Is it better to release more mid-level movies over a couple weekends to kind of slowly get everybody back, or do you release Avengers Endgame, bring everybody back one weekend?
Right. That's a good question, and I don't know. What we're going to get is a couple of mid-level movies first. That's what we're going to get.
Yeah, it's the safest way to do it.
Broken Hearts Gallery, and I think Unhinged with Russell Crowe was still. Even though it's moved back as well, it's still going to come out ahead of these movies.
Right.
And we're going to get a couple of mid-level movies first, and so we're going to see what actually happens. So I think in the case of like Broken Hearts Gallery, like it may actually do much better than it would have. Like it probably would have been completely swamped by the summer blockbuster season if it came out normally.
Yeah.
But now it'll be standing around on its own, so people might go see it. But the problem is, people aren't going to go to the movies right now.
No.
We're going to go to the movies right now. I don't care how much people reopen, and look, here in Virginia, they're opening up our restaurants on these places. You're gonna have some dunderheads who go up in them joints, but
Natural selection is what I say.
I'm not going in there.
Yeah.
I'm not going anywhere near these places. Not when the world is still on fire and the spikes are getting worse.
Yeah.
I mean, the outbreaks aren't huge here in Virginia. We're sort of plateaued, I guess, at this point.
That just means it hasn't been our time yet. That just means it's coming.
I mean, until it's gone, I'm not going anywhere, or until there's a vaccine. And I feel like most people feel that way. Most people are still too afraid to go out and do it, to go out. So it doesn't matter if you open. It doesn't matter if you open all the theaters. It doesn't matter if you open all the restaurants.
Yeah.
People aren't going to go.
Right. Well, the other major thing for movies like Tenet and Mulan, that let's say they pack each theater house when they open. Their guidelines still say social distancing, so a packed house is now a quarter of what it was before.
Most of those places are only allowed to have 50% capacity.
Yeah. So at best, you're making half of what you would have if you just waited a little longer.
Right. The only upshot of that is, because you don't have any other movies to compete with, you can put them in every theater.
Yeah.
So you could play them all day. So you could theoretically make up the difference, right?
Yeah.
Because you have so many showings of it. So it's not going to be like 10 and 10 other things.
Yeah.
It's going to be like 10 and like maybe 1 or 2 other movies. So you can like triple the amount of showings you would have. So you could theoretically make up the financial.
That's true. Yeah.
Theoretically make up the financial difference, but still, even if you're at max at 50% capacity, you have to imagine you're probably only really going to end up at about 25% capacity because people aren't going to be coming out. So I don't know how that's going to work out. It's just
never underestimate the stupidity of a good chunk of the population. And what we got to know is that, and just to go off on a different rant, is we put ourselves here because we had a choice to make. And, the government dropped the ball, sure, but we also make our own decisions, and people are making stupid decisions. We could have done one of two ways. Gotten through it quick by doing what Australia, New Zealand, Spain, those places did, and shut everything down, and you stay your ass at home unless you need food or it's a medical emergency. I don't mean fast food. I mean you need food. You need bread, eggs, milk. Yeah, you need to go to the grocery store for what's actually essentials. Or we could have done it the way we did, where we kind of say, okay, essentials only. So we're gonna, obviously you can't go to a bar, but you can still go to McDonald's, Burger King, and all this stuff.
We needed a federal response that we didn't get, and it's ridiculous. That goes off on a whole other tangent that I need to do. I need my own podcast to talk about that. But we didn't get it. But the thing is, here's the thing for me. I need Warner Brothers and Disney and all these studios that are playing this stupid. I'm gonna move. We'll move our movie back 2 weeks. I need them to stop doing that. This 1 week here, 2 weeks there, nonsense, isn't going to do them any good. Mm-hmm. They're acting as if the pandemic works on their production schedule, and it doesn't. It's a virus. Yeah. It's a virus. It has no concern for schedules. There's no concern for what you
events or whatever you got planned.
Just for no one's desire to have his movie come out in the summer. It does not give a shit. And at the rate things are going, it's not going. This isn't going to clear up until next year, and it might not even be that if a certain idiot gets reelected. So because he's acting as if it's gone now. So if he's acting as if it's gone now, he's really going to act like it's gone if he gets reelected. So and then I've said it before, and I say it again. If he does get reelected, I'm out of here because I'm not staying in a place where we let a disease run rampant and nobody doesn't let it. Because that is the lowest form of life I can think of. It's like, well, this is the lowest form of a government I can think of. It's like, well, we have a disease that's killed 125,000 people. We're just gonna let it go. We're just gonna be like, you know what? Screw it. We're gonna let it go. That I don't want to be part of that government. I don't want to be part of that country. I don't want to live there. Why would I want to do that? I love it here. I love this country.
I love it. I mean, I believe everybody do, but that doesn't mean you have to agree with the government. You know what I mean? You love the country, you love the people. You don't have to love the government.
Right. But the thing is, that's ridiculous, man.
I do love the people, and that's why I want the people to smarten up too. And the government is obviously to blame, but there's personal responsibility because it goes down to each person. If each person didn't go out to these places, regardless of what they said, it would be much better. So it's on both sides.
It is on both sides, but it's just a lot of these people. As much as I want to hate people who don't wear masks and don't do the simple things it takes to lessen this pandemic. Mm-hmm. I also know that there's a lot of people who put their faith in the government, and they believe that they believe that the people. Look, I grew up, expecting to believe the person in charge, the person who's the president. And most people who don't pay, a lot of attention to politics all the time, may still feel that way. That when the president tells you something, you're supposed to take it as gospel, and you're supposed to listen to them because, of course, they have your best interest at heart. Even if you don't agree with them about everything, you expect that they have your best interest at heart. And so people listen to that. And when they say the president, say masks are optional, they're not that big of a deal. What do we need testing for? All this kind of stuff. People listen to them and they take that shit seriously. Yeah. And so they don't do the things that they actually need to be doing. But then they don't understand that we have a madman who does not give a shit.
Right.
So, not to turn this political, but I'm afraid, unfortunately.
No, you're good. I opened up this can of worms.
As I've always said, politics is everything.
Yeah.
Politics affects movies, it affects comics, it affects TV, it affects everything in this world that you love. And if politics doesn't intrude into the thing that you love at some point, then that's super, super rare. Politics affects pro wrestling. Politics affects everything. Politics affects everything. And this is one of those cases where politics and movies are mixed, and we can't talk about the one thing without talking about the other right now. So,
for sure.
It is what it is. But you know what? I just hope everybody, if you're watching the show, if you're going to listen to the podcast later, just stay safe. Whatever you decide to do, if you decide to go out and put yourself out there, go to a movie or something, or go to a restaurant, just do it safely. Take
precautions. It only takes a second. There's really not, no matter how important. I mean, even a kid's graduation, I understand that's a big part of somebody's life. I mean, I went to my daughter's ballet recital one Saturday that I just really don't think they should have had. I mean, they did it outside, they did it distance and everything like that, and it would have sucked to miss something that she worked all year for. But it sucks a lot less than anybody got. Not somebody in my family, but anybody. And it's just be careful. That's all there is to it. So we really ended this episode on a high note, or on a happy note, I guess. But
you froze for about 30 seconds.
Oh, that's good. So that's probably coming through our feed as well.
You froze and nothing could be heard. So.
Okay. Well, I usually don't say anything needs to be heard anyway. So as long as you guys can hear Travis.
All right, I think we're on a good spot to close up show.
Yeah. So until next week, next Sunday, 2:00, we'll check you guys out then.
Let's have a guest join us next week.
I am fully on board with that.
Let's have a guest join us. We'll talk about who we want to ask. Maybe we'll ask our buddy Chris Bunbury from Joke Well. We'll see if he can come in. He just he just got put in charge of running that place. So we can go and hit him up for some work or something.
Yeah, I would love to bring him on. I love their site. I've always watched it, and I can address with him why they removed moviehotties.com. I understand with misogyny.
You know what? You absolutely should ask them that. You should definitely ask them why they did that.
Yeah, I will.
He's been there long enough. He probably remembers it. So.
Oh, I'm sure. But I am going to, in light of that, because that would push me to take the extra time needed, people of the Punch Drunk Critics, to make sure we don't fuck anything up next week. Excuse the language, but we will, I promise you, a technical error-free zone. Read my lips. No more errors. So with that said, punchdrunkcritics.com every single day. Travis on Twitter's at PunchyCritic. I'm PunchDrunkJohn. We are on Instagram. We're on Snappy Chat. I don't know what else.
I'll be on Twitch. I am Cinematic Enforcer. I just changed my name.
Cinematic_Enforcer, right?
Cinematic_Enforcer is my new name on there. So
yeah.
So get on there.
Sign up there and keep your eyes on punchdrunkcritics.com for a contest. If you can win something from us, follow Travis and supporting us in all our ventures. So until next week, remember, if you're watching this archive, make sure to check us out Sunday at 2:00. Join in the live chat and let us know when we're stupid or when we're smart. Whatever you want to say, we'll be here to listen. All right, guys. Take it easy.
Later.
See ya.